Hello and welcome. My name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up, and today I am here to share a card project with you. It's this card here, super cute, using the Sweet Strawberry bundle, and that is this bundle here. So let me just get the builder punch. So this is what the bundle looks like. This is the punch, if you've never seen a builder punch before. And these are designed to go together, so your stamps will punch out all of your images if you want to have strawberry embellishments and leaf and flower bud embellishments. So it's super cute, and I am going to be making this card live today. This bundle, the Sweet Strawberry bundle, was actually in our January to June catalog, I think, and it carried over to the annual catalog. So very excited. So the new annual catalog, this one here, this is from Stampin' Up! May 2021 to April 2022. And if you go to page 43, you will see their fabulous projects and also the bundle and the information. So here are some close-ups of the stamps. If you're new to the catalog, anything that has this like slightly different coloring means that it has a coordinating punch or die, in this case, punch. So that's just something to keep in mind. So they let you know there too. Oh, thanks, Susan. You like the card? Yeah, this is what we're going to make today. And I glammed up the inside too a little bit. So I couldn't help myself. It's a lot of layers, but it's worth it. I did that with the class too, because as we all know, I cannot stop using the Scalloped Contour Dies. So we're using a punch and we're using dies today. That's okay. All right, so we're going to make this card, but that's where you can find it in the catalog if you are interested. And let's go over colors. So the colors that we used here today are the polished pink, the basic white, basic black, and then also garden green. So with garden green, it's just the ink. And then with the other products, it's kind of a combination of things. And then we're going to be talking about our builder punch in just a minute. This is the way that I like to do it. But we'll go over that in just a moment. But what you're going to need is your card base. Mine's already cut. So this is 8.5 by 5.5 and then scored 4 1/4, like that classic card size. And then for our layer, the main layering pieces here are, and let me get the dies out too so you can see these. I'll put it on here while I have this out. Okay, so these are the 3 dies that I used from the Scalloped Contour Dies for this card. And I've already pre-cut the pieces. So there's a whole bunch of rectangles. It's the second smallest. So we're using the second smallest rectangle and then the smallest rectangle from that die set. And we'll just be layering these 2 pieces right on top of each other. We're also going to be using our builder punch with the stamps because we have all of these punched out pieces. So the leaves, the flowers, and the strawberry with its little stem there. So we'll be using those 2. And then for the stamps, we're actually going to be using, a good number of the stamps. So we're going to be using, that was so sweet of you, but you could actually I could do hello there. I haven't done a card that says hello there yet. But whichever one you want to do. And then we're going to be using the outlines and the fill. If you just want to do fill, that's totally fine. I'm going to be using both for everything. So both for the strawberry, both for the smaller flower, the one that comes out of the builder punch, and both for the leaves. We're also going to be using this as a background stamp. So this one's going to be getting a workout. The only ones I didn't use were the bigger flowers, actually. So there you go. Let's see. So here we can kind of see that background. And then I forgot about these inside pieces. So the inside pieces for the dies, I didn't actually grab those. It's the second largest die in basic white and the largest die in basic black. So we'll be cutting those too. Well, I'll see if I can grab some pre-cut ones because this table shakes when I cut it. Okay, so whenever you're using your punch, the way that it's designed to be used, and let me go over that first. So the way that it was designed is that you set it down on the table and you punch. And I know some people like to hold it and punch. I do too. This is the feed. So traditionally you would feed your paper this way. Okay, and then punch. And you can punch your pieces out first and then ink them, or you could ink and then stamp. I like to ink and then stamp. It's just the way that I like to do it. And I'll show you how I like to do it. So if you've already seen my tip video, I'm going to do the same thing. If you haven't, we're going to go over it again today. So instead of me feeding it in from the bottom, I'm going to be feeding it sideways. So it's going to go through like that. And this is an example of one that's already been punched out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these punched out sections as a template. So I'm just going to take my paper snips here. And we're doing this first because we're going to use this to arrange our stamps. And we're going to do this twice. We're going to do it for the outlines and we're going to do it for the fill stamps. So I'm going to cut this out. Okay. So just punch once and you'll have your little template here. I'm just going to move this stuff out of the way real quick. Let's see if I can keep that card on camera. Okay. And then let me just move that so you guys can see. Okay. All right. Now, what I like to do is actually lay it right over top of the punch. But I'm going to show you this because you want to make sure your template is going in the same direction as your punches. It can be really easy, like, to not realize that they're not lined up. So just noting that the flower's over here and the stem is over here. So you can see that lines up like pretty easy. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start lining up our stamps. So I'm going to take out my stamps and I'm going to do the outlines first. So we're going to get our outline strawberry. And whenever you're working with, hopefully you can see this, whenever you're working with a photopolymer stamp, you'll see like there's like the base and then there's like a little lip and then the actual stamp itself stands a little bit higher. So that means that when you're putting this over your punch, there's actually like a little shelf in there. So instead of me putting it on a flat surface like this and the stamp sticking up, if I put it over the punch and set it in, then the stamp gets flush and lays flat with the actual template. So we're going to do that and we're just going to fit these in for all of them. And again, this is for the outline stamps. And the reason we want to do all outlines and all fill is just because of the way we're going to ink it. So there's our stem. We're going to get our flower, and you can tell which ones I've used the most because they're permanently inked. Okay. There we go. We're going to try to make sure they're as straight as they can be in the template. And now here's my little leaf outline. Same thing. I'm just setting it in. If you find as you're setting these in that they're touching, you could just move them slightly because you want to make sure they're all laying flat because you're going to pick them up with your block. Okay, so I'm going to take block D. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down right on top of the stamps and I'm going to pick them up. So you can figure out which way you want them to sit on your block. I'm going to go this way and then I'm just going to tap it and pick them up. And so now the way that these are on the block is exactly the way they're going to line up and punch out together in your builder punch. So it's kind of like a 4-for-1. And then when you do your fill stamp, like your 2-step process, it becomes an 8-for-1, which really helps with time. So we're going to do the same exact thing, but now I'm going to do the fill. So I'm just going to set it over again. And the whole reason I set it over top of the punch is so that the stamps can sit down in it instead of sticking up out of the paper. I just figure it's easiest to do it that way. All right, and then we get our fill leaf. These were the two that I found would touch. Like they'd get real close together. So I'm just going to pull this one up and this one down a little. You can see they're kind of like touching, but it's flat, like they're okay. You just don't want one sticking up over the other because it won't pick up cleanly on your block. And then I'm going to put this one down. And I'm going to put my little stem down. All of our little fill stamps. This is that, I think, distinctive, they call it, stamp look, which I really like. All right, and then when these are looking nice and straight, the stem is always the one that gets me. But when these are looking good, I'm going to pick this up too. Okay. Now I can see there's something on the back of this stamp. It's just like a little bit of paper. So don't be like me, clean. Make sure your stamps are clean. And then I'm going to pick that up. I really should have put that like on the Simply chamois, but we'll see how we do. Just make sure the whole thing isn't dirty. Make sure it's clean enough to stick. Okay. All right. And then I have my fill stamps. So you can do that with the Stamparatus too. If you prefer to use your Stamparatus, use your little template. You'll pick up the stamps with a plate and then leave your template in that same spot, or make sure your little magnets are down and you can just stamp. Like you'll know that they're lined up. And if you guys want me to show you that, I can show that to you too. But let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to ink these now. In terms of inking, if you want to do just two colors for the fill stamps, for example, like red, like Poppy Parade, and Garden Green. If this is too much, you could do them in 2 and 2. So you could do the 2 red and then you could do the 2 green. It's an extra step, but you're not messing with any color. Another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I can't remember her name, but the comment is on YouTube in the original tip video. She had suggested using your Stampin' Write markers to color these, and that will avoid using, big ink pads and messing, getting any ink on the other color. So you could do that too. There are different ways to do that. I love the mini inkers for this, like our little ink spots that come in the paper pumpkin kits. I think that's great for inking these. But today I am going to be using my full-size ink pad. I just kind of use the corners. So it's up to you. And for our outline stamps today, I'm actually going to be using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And that was because with this whole card series that I designed, black was one of the accent colors. So I thought that the black outline was going to just really make them like pop. So that's what I chose to do. So that makes it nice and easy when all of your outlines are the same color. So we're going to do that. And I like to do like about 3-inch strips so that they're easy to feed through the punch. You can decide what size fits best for you because I can stamp them and punch them pretty easily at this size. And then, of course, if you do 12 by 12, you'll get an even longer strip. I usually do about 3 or 4 per row, just depending on how well they fit. Just keep in mind that you got to be able to fit your punch. So you want to have a little space in between each one. So we're going to start with our we're going to start with our outline. And I'm going to use the Memento ink. That was a lot of setup, but it'll pay off. Here, let me lift that up so I'm not messing with the table. Okay, so we're just going to stamp this several times right across. Okay, so now I'm going to do my fill stamps. So for this card, we're using polished pink and we're using garden green. Oops, that's Poppy Parade. Poppy Parade is like the perfect strawberry red. I love that color. Okay, polished pink is so fun. I had to use it. So we're going to do polished pink and I'll do garden green next. We'll do the pink first. So the way I've been doing it and it's up to you how you guys want to do this. So you can either leave the flower white and not ink the stamp at all, like if you want to kind of be more true with the way that the bud looks. I like it pink. I just think it's pretty in pink. So I've been kind of just going to the corner and just walking my stamp in until it looks like it's wet, like I've gotten the whole thing. And then I move over to the other one and I just ink that too. Then I'm gonna grab my garden green and I'm gonna do the same exact thing. And I'm basically just gonna repeat this process as we make our little strawberries. So go into a corner and I'm just walking it in. And of course, with garden green, you can like see it right away. Because my stamps are stained, it's harder to see the polished pink going on. Okay, so I've got that leaf. And now I'm gonna work my way over to the stem. And I'm gonna be careful to corner it here. Okay, and that looks pretty covered, so this will be the moment of truth. Let's see. Okay, good. Now, this is my little disclaimer. Okay, so, oh, thanks, Cheryl. Yeah, definitely. Oh, cool. Yes, when you have to make a bunch of thank you cards, that is the perfect reason to do this. So if you're going to do it this way, Cheryl, I just want to make my little disclaimer here that Stampin' Up! Designed the stamp to go down, like punch down. I'm going to be punching up. I'm going to be punching the opposite way. So when you do that, just make sure you don't pinch yourself, okay? So like when we're working with our hands, just make sure you're like hands out when you're feeding this through, or you can set it down on the table this way, but it's a little awkward just because it was designed to be the other way. So I still like, I kind of need to see it to line it up. And that's why I have chosen to do it this way. So just be aware. I will always tell you guys, this is just kind of the way that I'm cheating a little bit, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's their design. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm going to set this like, basically I want a little white line around each of these. So I'm just trying to angle that so that like they're all looking good. And I like that. So then I kind of pinch it a little bit. And before I punch, I just make sure that my hands are clear of those little pinchy areas, the little side areas, and then you just punch. Let me show you what the fill stamp looks like without the outline. So if you don't want to do this two-step, like if you just want to do the single stamp, let me just show you what that looks like. Same thing, just gonna line it up. Now, when you first stamp with polished pink, it looks so much more like red than when it dries. So let me just put these next to each other. This one looks better, so let me do that. So this is just the fill, and this is with the outline. So just so you can kind of see the difference in those. Let's see if I can bring them closer without it blurring out. Okay. And I am going to outline it just because that's the way I did the rest of them. I re-inked my Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad right before I made the June class, and oh my gosh, I should have done that a while ago. If you think your ink pad needs to be re-inked, it probably like needed it 2 weeks ago. That's the way I am. All right, so there it is. If you want to stamp them individually too. Okay, now, oh, the next thing we're going to stamp is our sentiment. So I'll use this one. Which one should we use? Should I use the one I did before? Or should we say hello there? Let's say hello there. I haven't used that one yet. You can tell by how clean and pretty it is. Okay. All right. So one more time. I keep moving that ink pad out of my way because I know I'm going to end up wearing it. Hello. I chose not to color this in, but just imagine if you did this with the Stampin' Blends. I'm very tempted to do a version of this and like color it in almost as if it was designer series paper. I think it makes a beautiful pattern. So the one thing that I wanted to show you with the finished card versus this one, and let me just make sure that the ink is off of my fingers before I start making everything crazy. So this one is, let me see what this one measures. 1 inch. So this is 1 by 5.5. And this one is 2 1/4. Okay. So if you wanted to have like a larger polished pink piece on your card, I mean, that also would look fabulous. And you could change the direction of it. You know, you could have it be more the portrait style if you would want. I am going to trim mine down and I'm going to keep the design the same. Just going to line this up with the scored edge. We can even fold it if we want. Actually, let me get my bone folder. Let's straighten it out now. I'm just going to line that up. Cute. All right, now we're going to get our leaves and our flowers, and we're going to start putting everything in position. I'm just sort of tucking it in. I didn't go right to the edge with my adhesive, so it kind of allows me to work with it a little bit. There's my 4th leaf here. So we're going to be using 4 of the leaves. And you can angle them however you like. We'll put our strawberry in the middle with our little stem here. I'm going to use our good stem. Okay. And then we're going to get our little flowers here. I'm not going to lie, that lineup is bothering me a little bit. So I might have to fix this one. Let me do this real quick. I'm just going to flip it over to the other side. If you're not happy with the way it lines up, you could always redo it. There it is. All right. I'm sorry. I got a little. This one isn't lined up perfectly either, but we're just gonna deal. So I actually used my multi-purpose glue to adhere all of this. And then our finishing touch on the top half of the card is going to be, it's going to be the From My Heart Faceted Gems. And this is also the embellishment that we're going to be using in the June class. But if you see here, and I've literally used half of this container. I love these things. But if you can see here, like the gems are right in the center of the flowers, and I use the white ones. So you could use whichever color you want because all three colors come in that smaller like gem color, but just wanted to let you know that. So these are all in position for gluing. Let me just get a feel for everything here. So everything's looking good in terms of like its positioning. So my leaves aren't too low, things aren't looking weird. So I know that I have enough space for my sentiment. So I'm just going to set that aside and we're going to start gluing this down. And outlines. So I'm just following the rectangle. Okay, so my gems, here we go, faceted gems from my heart. That's basically the project, but I'm going to show you the original so you know which two inside pieces I'm talking about. Second largest die from the Scalloped Edge, I think they're called, Scalloped Contours. Scalloped Contours Dies. So the second to largest die in basic white, the largest die in basic black. I am offering a card class in June. And if you like the card that we made live today, it's all of the same elements and all of the same color palette, just a different card. So if you really just want to follow the tutorials with me and you just want to have something that you can work with at home, then that's basically what this card is for. And then if you actually want to take the class, the June online class that I'm offering, these are the cards that we will be making in the class. So we have just for you, we have 2 pink and 2 polished pink and then 2 Poppy Parade. So here's this one. Then we have this card. And I had fun putting that sentiment sideways. For a hot minute, I was like, should I do that? But I actually really like the way it looked. And then we have the happy birthday one here. So these 4 cards, these are what are going to be in the class. If you saw my YouTube video today, it's basically talking about the same thing. Just wanted to review it again here. So we have this hostess. We have a hostess rewards, and there's actually like a special host program and everything going on now through June 14th. But the papers are so fabulous in this designer series paper pack. It's like a huge designer series paper pack. And it has these fabulous black and white like patterns and themes to them. The other side are color. So just depending on, you know, what you are as a crafter or what you prefer. But I love the black and white look. Every time they come out with a designer series paper pack like that, it draws me right in. So I'm going to be including a couple of pieces from that to incorporate with the cards. but I designed the cards to actually go with or without designer series paper. So basically, we're like making our own backgrounds with these cards, and you can choose to add in those little pops of the designer series paper if you want to or not. Also in the class, I'm going to be including the polished pink ribbon, the open weave ribbon, and that's on this project here. But of course, you could use it for other things and get really fancy with it. It ties beautifully into bows. You're going to be getting those from my Hart faceted gems that we just used on this card project here. And then the card kits come with envelopes. I forgot to include them when I was talking in my YouTube video. So for example, this card kit, which I will do all of the cutting for and everything, will make this card. All you have to do is the stamping and assembling with your adhesive. And then the insides are done too. So you'll have like some fancy insides to each of your cards as well. So just wanted to show those. I keep forgetting to show the insides. But you can see like these are the ones that have the red gems on them. And then we have this one, and then this has the small gem versus the large gem. So you have like, you have some different options there, but these are the 4 card kits that you would get with it as well. And then I'll have a video tutorial, a PDF tutorial, and I will have a Facebook group just for the participants in the class. For the first 2 people who actually sign up for the card class, I'm going to send them this completed card. So the first will get "That was so sweet of you," and the second person to sign up for the class will get "Hello there." If you love online card classes, it's so nice because so much of the work is done for you, and then you can have the fun of just stamping it out and sending off the cards. But since we're getting into summer, it's so nice to work with bright, happy colors and to be working with the strawberries. I just thought it came together so easily. I just thought it was so beautiful. So hopefully that will come through in the class and in tonight's project. And that's all for me. So I will see you guys again on Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And I hope you all have a wonderful night. All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.